All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Green White Checker TV, where tonight we have the Area 51 Super Speedway Xfinity Series here tonight at Daytona International Speedway, where these guys will be racing for playoff race number 2. 75 laps are scheduled distance. Of course, as always, 2 fast pairs, 2 Green White Checkers available should they be needed. And after a caution-free race at Atlanta last week, Maxwell Caldwell getting the win in that number 94 car puts him to the top of the points, of course, in that championship race. And I was kind of teasing with Boomer and Brandon calling the shots there. I pinged Maxwell after the race, and so I was telling the guys, that's probably the biggest win of Maxwell's career, because he's pretty much said all he ever wants to do is to beat Gabe in a race, and able to get it done last week, getting that 1-2 finish there. So I said he can retire happy now. He's accomplished his life's goal. He needs nothing else. So, but yeah, no, all joking aside, big congrats to Max on that win last week. So, but Brandon, we're back here at Daytona, and yeah, I'll say race number 2 of that season. Looks like we got about 19 cars at the moment in the server. And, of course, with the win, Maxwell was able to jump to a 7-point lead, which, again, starting off the playoffs, I mean, that's a big chunk. Everybody starting off tied. So to jump to 7-point lead over Gabe Butler, Cody was 8 out of that lead. And I actually don't believe I see Cody in the server here once more this evening. I know he's had kind of some prior commitments, unfortunately, on Friday. And it looks like possibly tonight as well. So I'll say unfortunately, but possibly for the other drivers, possibly a fortunately situation, because we know what that guy can do on track.
Yeah, and unfortunate for Cody, but yeah, with that points lead here with Maxwell, that's really gonna give him a chance to be a little bit here. I think a little bit more aggressive here with that 7-point lead. Daytona, it's a little bit more tougher to pass than it is at other super speedways. So if you can be a little bit more aggressive with that point bonus, this is the track where you need to do it at.
Yeah, and the other thing to mention is we were chatting a little bit pre-race, and I'm going to see if I can find an angle here for us to get a good shot of it here. But I don't believe we'll be able to catch one. As we talk about it, let's say showing Maxwell there on track. Not intentionally, hopefully not spying on anything for what he's able to do. But I'm trying to do here, Brandon, is I want to try to find a pit entry camera. And I haven't hunted one down as of yet, unfortunately. So what we'll do is we'll catch it at some point in this race. But basically, though, what we were noticing is this track was updated to update the bus stop in the backstretch for like the endurance races, Daytona 24 and all that. They changed the pit entry cone, so that's going to be a big story, I think, tonight, because that changes your braking point for when you need to get into pit road. You can just see it on the very edge of the screen there, where the cone is on the far end. But like I said, we'll show it at some point during the broadcast here tonight. But before we get to all of that fun, we got to pull up our starting grid for tonight's event. And we just mentioned it earlier. They're trying to see what he can do to get some points back after that opening race. That's going to be Gabe Butler trying to close the gap down on that number 94. He takes pole tonight over Jack Walls. Doug Webb there third. Gary Huff finds Bud Steele our top 5. Eric Laurie, Everett Lane, Hayden Davis, Dean Wilkinson, and Dale Rapp our top 10. 11th is Jim Brooks. Next to him will be Maxwell Caldwell. Then in 13th is Justin Davis, Joshua Highbaugh, Anthony Lane, Jim Duda, and then Robert Amaral, Mike Allen, and Bob Fitzgerald will be our 19 drivers here this evening. So again, though, every point's going to be important on this one tonight. I was looking at the bonus points last week. Again, you ask, how did Maxwell get those 7-point lead? That's because he was able to win the race. Those are the 5 bonus points. Able to also lead the most laps, which gives 2 bonus points on top of the 1 for leading a lap. So lead 1 for a lap, 2 for the most laps. So that's how he's able to get that 5. And so if, let's say, Gabe hadn't been able to lead a lap, that would actually put him 8 out front. So just, again, kind of the show where all those points really do come into play. And that's why you see, I think, the extra aggression from these drivers trying to stay in control of this race.
Yeah, be aggressive and get the points, but not only that, most of the time it keeps your car pretty clean and away from all the mess. And one guy that got in right here at the end of the playoffs, Gary Huffine's going to be on the second row there on the outside. Good run there for him. I believe he comes in 10th in points, so speaking of those bonus points, a little bit easier tonight for Gary to maybe hop up there and steal him one.
Yeah, no, exactly right. And again, I mean, there's no winning to get in or anything like that over here. But again, though, just getting really good finishes, that's going to get you a long, long ways into this one. So, yeah, now it's, again, as we always talk about the strategy in these races, do you want to be up front and try to control it? Or do you maybe opt to want to stay kind of further in the back and just play it safe as the race kind of unfolds? But we're going to have another story, I think, going in because I'm showing 18 cars that have rolled out of pit road. And again, one of the drivers that is not on track right now is Dean Wilkinson in that number 55. He was fifth in points coming into tonight's race after race number 1. So again, that could be another big role in this. Again, I mean, you talk about Cody not being here. Dean, unfortunately, right now, something going on. Hopefully he's able to pop back out, maybe lose the draft to start with. But again, 75 laps to get something done. And with that too, Brandon, do need to mention a fuel window. I was hearing it's about 24 to 26 laps. So somewhere these guys are going to have to maybe save about a lap of fuel to make sure they can get to that lap 25 marker, turn that thing into a two-stopper to get to lap number 75 scheduled distance. And on cue, Dean Wilkinson is in the pits. And I say, we'll have to show that car off because he has a lovely Halloween paint scheme. And I say, we'll definitely have to do some paint scheme checks. We'll see if all the paints work because there's another Halloween scheme in here tonight. Hopefully it pop back up. But we're about underway here, Brandon, as they come through 3 and 4.
Yeah, you ain't lying. We should get a caution lap, too, for Dean Wilkinson for bringing that badass paint scheme here tonight. Unfortunately, like you said, is going to have to start in the pits. But that's a good-looking race car. And I love them paint schemes. But like you said, pace car about to dip off and get this race underway.
Yep, waiting for that pace car to peel up. There it goes now. That's going to hand it over to Gabe Butler. Jack Walls, our front row. Of course, initial start always on that green flag as Jack's going to squeeze the 88 there as they get underway. And here we go. Everybody starts to build up speed, get the kind of temperatures and the pressures built up. There goes Dean rolling out of pit road. Maybe he can get some help from maybe a Bob Fitzgerald to see if Bob maybe rolls back and tries to pick him up. I already see Bob dropping back, thinking Bob may try to help Dean lose a little bit less time in that 55 car. So we'll keep an eye on those two. But right now, Dean just rolling out of pit road, so we'll keep an eye on him. But up front, though, Gabe continues to have just that nose head of that number 83 of Jack Walls as he's getting that great push from Doug Webb.
Yeah, good run there for the 88. And unfortunately for the 55, Daytona is a lot like Atlanta was last week. That normally isn't. They went like you said, no cautions, and that's tough to make up those big breaks when you run green for 75 straight, or in Atlanta's case, 100 straight. Oh, touching already.
Oh, that might answer the question. We are not going to caution free. Oh, Maxwell's up and over on his lid, and caution is out. And man, that was huge on an early one there, unfortunately. You see Anthony Lane there, Doug Webb as well, looking for Maxwell. He's got that car pointed in the right direction. You see the 10 car, unfortunately, also engine popped on that one. That, honestly, yeah, that's a surprise for me on this one. They were going for the lead here on this initial lap, maybe trying to lead lap number 1. But I'm wondering if it's maybe a bump gone wrong here. We'll try to get a better view here. So I'm going to initially start with the 88 of Gabe Butler. We'll watch as they come. Ooh, yeah, actually, I think Gary Huffines maybe gives Jack just a little bit of a push that off-centers him. So we'll go one more time here. We'll look actually from the roof here of Gary Huffines, and we'll watch as he hits the, kind of gives them bump and travel. Again, nothing egregious here. He's just trying to give the 83 a bump, maybe try to get him that lap lead. And you can see Jack's pretty tight. Actually, I think the bump's already happened at that point. So I'm curious. Now, it's close. Or, I'll say again, we're kind of just seeing what we can find here, Brandon. Is it actually possibly Doug Webb? And I can't tell. The way the car cuts left, I kind of feel like there was a bump that off-centered the 83. But that puts him up into Gabe. And then from there, you can just see everybody's just so stacked up. Again, just that initial start. So you see the 714. He goes up and around. And then again, now it's just the accordion effect there. And he just slides up. Maxwell almost gets it clear, but man, just catches him in the left rear. And that puts Max up and over. And yeah, that's not the way he expected that start of the race to go for him. But again, though, luckily got the faster pairs in these things. You see a little bit more contact in the back. I see the 77, the 81. I believe, who's the other one? Is that Mike Allen? Yeah, it's Mike Allen as well. So Unfortunately, a number of drivers involved in this one. And again, missing that wreck or missing the start here, maybe silver lining for Dean Wilkinson, probably would have been right in the thick of it at the time of that yellow. So really, really wild start tonight. Maxwell's still trying to get this poor car to pit road, it looks like, because we're back live here. Field is about to come through 3 and 4, and he is just driving it for all he is worth right now here, Brandon. But this will take fuel mileage out of the question, though, so I guess there's one silver lining in all of this. So we know for sure from here, scheduled distance is a 2-stop race. Now it's just going to be strategy here. Do we stay out? Do we go and get that splash of fuel? And it looks like a lot of takers here.
Yeah, come down, and that commentator's curse is real.
Right.
I'm glad it worked out for you, Dean. That's what happens when you bring the best paint scheme of the night to the track. God works in your fortune. Unfortunate for Maxwell, big hit there for him, but he's got a fast repair. He's going to get that car taken care of, and I think that's going to talk about the aggression. Maybe not going to go like maybe I said earlier for the 94s. He's only going to have maybe, would you say one or what, 2 fast repairs here on Sunday nights, correct?
He's got one
so he'll
more,
have one left. So do you think that changes the strategy?
I think it does a little bit, but I also want to show off this magic trick. So you see the damaged car for Maxwell. Dean's going to roll right on by, all better. I don't know how Dean has all this magic tonight, but that 55 car, I don't know if it's the paint scheme or what, but we're going to jump back over to that car. We'll jump live here. And yeah, so there's the Halloween themed cheerwine scheme. Again, I love what these guys do, where they just, the originality, like this is Dean, like this is all him. He's having fun with it, and it looks awesome. One of the other cars that unfortunately had a bit of trouble in that whole situation, there's the other Halloween car right on cue, actually rolls in just in time. I believe that is the Frankenstein on the hood of that car. But yeah, so that's Justin Davis, also got some Halloween themes on his as well. So always fun to see. And yeah, you see the little jack-o'-lantern there on the side. So good fun, these guys. I say I love what these guys can do. And yeah, maybe the combo of commentator's curse / the paint scheme benefit, if you will. I'm gonna say we kind of had both there, Brandon. I say with the mention obviously of Maxwell's run last week, and then of course now with the caution free at Atlanta. So we kind of did a 2-for there.
Yeah, that was definitely completely 2 opposites. And for these 2 guys up front, you just think they wipe? That's just racing. I mean, I didn't see, like I said, when we went back and looked at that replay. Do you still trust the 00 up there with you, or no? There.
Oh yeah, no, 100% still trust them. Like I said, there's no maliciousness there. I think, again, and I didn't even mention it, is these cars, they don't bump square. So I mean, if you do bump somebody, it's, to me, honestly, kind of a 50-50 shot of if it's going to be a square bump and all's going to go well, or if you're going to get that little bit of a bump and it kind of pushes that car. And it seems like usually it is, kind of shoves them over to the left a little bit. So yeah, I think it's just unfortunately kind of the way these cars are at times, where sometimes just bumps go wrong. And I could be completely wrong, but from what I looked like I saw there, never got a definitive angle, but I think the 00 just gave the 83 just a bump there in the trial, unsettled the 83 down into Gabe, and then from there, unfortunately, just we saw the result. But the silver lining, though, for this all, Brandon, is we still have the entire field back on the lead lap. The fast repair did their jobs. Drivers that were maybe involved, even if it wasn't their own doing, they're still back in this race. So again, that's why they have the fast repairs. And this is something like that happens early on. Again, this is a league. It's supposed to be for fun. You don't want your race over lap 1 trial. So that's one thing I do applaud, is it kind of gives everybody that mulligan, if you will. And in this case, of course, having the 2 on the super speedway side.
Yeah, I didn't see no harm there, and the 83, he made the playoffs, not gonna be competing for a championship. Said he's got some things he's gonna have going on, and gave up a spot. And actually, I think that's what helped the 00 on the last race. With the points and everything, helped him slide in. So definitely in favor of that 83 is the 00. But he's been running really, really good in these, not only on Sundays, but Fridays also. 83 was been running up front, and then I believe was collected in a wreck 2 weeks ago, or on Friday a week ago. But Paysar is going to peel off, and the 00 and the 83 is going to lead us back.
Yeah, we're getting back to green here, and We've got a lot of, I feel like, Roswell in this top group here. So basically the top 5 stayed out. 0083, 619, and the 101. Jim Brooks actually the first out of pit road with fuel only. And then a few drivers opting to go ahead and take the top off as well. I think the first of those is going to be Justin Davis in the 10. But we are back underway starting lap number 6 of 75. And you can see a great start from that inside line. Gary Huffines easily clears but the outside line there. Bud Steele giving him a great push here down the back. And we'll keep an eye on those bumps as we talked about it, because again, you'll see some times where you'll see a bump and we'll watch that leading car just get that little bit of a move side to side. And like I said, it's just nothing intentional. Just these cars, again, just the way they bump it kind of off centers them a little bit.
Yeah, and it does. I was going to ask you that. And when you're running as a team in a league like this, is that something you think the drivers, they kind of want to make sure they all got is, the same make, and model, you can see the Toyota a little bit rounded, but a lot of people say the Fords, like you can see Bud's, he's got a nice, like, it looks like it's almost flat up there. And they said it's a little bit easier to push. Now, do you think that plays a little bit of a factor also with some of these teams?
That's actually a really good question. Truthfully, I don't know. But you're right, though. I mean, that could definitely play a role. And right there, you saw right there, Bud gave a little bump to that number 00, and you saw the wiggle that he had from it, able to gather it back up. But that, again, that's just they're trying to bump, trying to help each other. Sometimes it works fine. Sometimes you'll get that little unsettled position that we just saw there from Gary. And yeah, it's just no real rhyme or reason, unfortunately. But what I do think, though, in that situation, Brandon, is I think that's where when we see these guys in practice, a lot of times they'll try to get in the groups. I see the Silver Fox drivers do that week in and week out. They'll race together, and they'll go ahead and you see Jack Clear, he's going to jump to the bottom. That's going to open up Hayden Davis on the top side. But I'll see those guys, Robert Amaral, Dale Rapp, Anthony Lane, and company. They'll run in a group just to kind of get those reps in. Where it's like, okay, let's get comfortable pushing each other and find kind of what works, what doesn't work, find maybe even kind of position-wise who's most comfortable pushing and being pushed and all that. But Gabe and Maxwell trying to go, it looks like 3 wide. Gabe's thinking about that third lane. He's got help behind him here. You saw the number 24, see the 071. He gets back in line. But yeah, he's pretty much got all the boot knockers lined up there behind him, the 24, the 071, and the 714 of Doug Webb. So he knows he has help when he's ready to try to make that third lane happen.
Yeah, and as normally I would think these guys would hop up there and maybe try to make their way to the front, but with as much as is going on, you can see here Jim Brooks is going to get down to the bottom. Do you think these guys are not, I think they're just trying to get with their teammates. So, nope, here comes the third lane. They're going to leave the 19 to the middle. No, it looks like he's going to get some help there.
Look at that. So you can see the 19, Hayden Davis. They put him 3. Gabe saw the opening on the middle and said, yep, don't mind if I do. Maxwell is trying to push the 13 of Mike Allen, and Gabe's going to try to kind of leave them both out to dry on that top side. So a little snookery, if you will, from those guys kind of teaming up on him just a little bit there. And like I said, Gabe's going to have the help. They'll have the numbers. So we'll see how far they can push that 19 of Hayden Davis to in that Budweiser Ford.
Yeah, and we brought it up pre-race there with the 00. We talked about starting up front. He was able to get that bonus point. Now he's going to want to have the 83 or the 19 lean as much of this race as they can. As you can see, the 88 really give a push to the 19. So that 88 don't get no bonus points, but looks like he's making his way to the front, and he's going to eventually end up collecting one.
Oh, yeah, and I mean, and look who he's got behind him. He's got his teammate Everett Lang. Everett Clory's just rolled in there, as well as Doug Webb. So like I said, they've got the whole team organized here. Now it's just who can get that push through the tri-oval. Oh, we see there the 00 way down on the apron is going to do a little bit off-roading, but it looks like we'll stay pointing in the right direction. Gabe will lead that lap. But let's go back here. I want to catch what happened here to Gary, because he definitely had a moment. So let's go back one more time. We'll focus on Gary as we come through 3 and 4. And, Eric Laurie, you can see the contact there out of 4. I say Eric kind of moves down a little bit. That catches Gary. But, again, great hands by Gary. And also a really good job here. You know he wanted to rejoin as immediately as he possibly could, but was able to be safe about it. However, unfortunately, the being safe has cost him the draft. So it's just there's never a safe place in this track here, Brandon. And that's what we always talk about is, do you want to be up front and maybe try to control your own destiny? Do you want to be in the back and just kind of stay out of trouble potentially? But As I say that, ignore contact there. That was Maxwell in the, I think the 13 of Mike Allen. Big hit for the two of them. Maxwell already had that burn that fast repair, so he's going to have some decent damage to that right front. You can see it already there from that camera angle. So those two make contact with one another. So again, this is a tough position for Maxwell to be in because he's not going to want to use that fast repair, but you can see the damage there. So once again here, it's going to be trouble for that 94 after that big win last week. So we'll have to keep an eye on him. I can also see Mike Allen has held on to this draft. What I was about to mention, though, is when you're rolling in the back there, Brandon, if an incident happens, doesn't bring out a yellow, but you lose the draft, I mean, what do? There's not much you can do in this situation. And that's kind of what the risk that these guys are in now, because Maxwell was starting to drop towards drop a couple tenths, but now he's got that push from Bob Fitzgerald, Dean Wilkinson. They've closed it back to about a half a second, but that's, again, they got to stay organized here, make sure they get back all the way in before they start to fight amongst themselves. But yeah, tough start for that 94 though so far.
Yeah, tough break tough going so far for him, and not catching a break yet. But we talked about it. He did have that 7-point buffer lead up from winning last week and then gaining all those bonus points. So not the night you want, but it's far from over. We've seen these cars be all over the track tonight. So even I think the 00 is going to be fine. We've seen the third lane come into effect already early in this race. So guys making moves right here, as we can see here. That's even teammates right there, I believe, of the 071 and the 24. Just these cars look like they're a little bit of a handful tonight.
Yeah, no, these guys definitely look a little more on edge than we're used to seeing for sure. So, so I don't know if it's something changed on an update or setup or what, but yeah, these cars I don't think are driving the way they maybe are used to, or again, maybe it's just everybody's kind of just that little extra ramped up for it being the playoffs. Like I said, right now I'm looking at the timing and scoring, and you can see the top 6 drivers, 4 of those in the playoffs, and then Joshua Highball the next back in 10th. So definitely, I say numbers right now, you want to be as far forward as you can. Gabe's been able to click off some laps led, but of course he's got 3 teammates right there, 2 teammates with the 3 of them there, all in that playoff. Actually, I'm lying. It is all 3 teammates with the 4 of them, the 88, the 24, the 071, and the 714, all in that playoff group together. And there you go. Gabe's going to jump up top here and pick up Everett Attitude, get that big push down the back. Maybe see if he can clear maybe both of them potentially, because, again, we're not in that window yet, but another 10, 15 laps, and we're going to start to see some pit stops. The first of those will be those drivers that did not pit, like the 18, the 83, the 6, and the 101.
Yeah, I don't know if we're going to make it there. The 24 is on top of the 88's bumper. These guys are pushing really hard here, and we're only on lap 16 now. So you can see it. If I'm the 94, if we stay green, I think you use the fast repair. But if we come in under caution, I don't think you use that fast repair. He's seen that not only could he be the lead car and catch back up, but he's still running right here in this pack. So, I think you save that fast repair. What you think, Gael? If it's only under yellow, I think if it's under green, you can't take the risk.
I'm still too afraid to use it even under green. I think I save it no matter what, honestly, because it's just like you said, the way the race has started, the one incident, obviously the caution, but then also just you can see again the movement we're getting from these guys. If you can get a good in and out lap, I think he'll be safe. And I feel like Maxwell's definitely by all means has the talent to do so, because that car can safely hold the draft. You can see the 13 there, Mike Allen. He's trying to work the top side here, so he's not hurting too bad either. So yeah, honestly, I think green or under yellow, I just get it. Let me rephrase. Green or yellow, I don't get the fast repair. Obviously, under yellow, like you said, go ahead and get that damage repaired. But I think it's going to be, I think I take the left side tires and fuel and just try to get as much track position as you can on entry. And which brings us to that next point, is that pit stop. See if we can get a good look at it here coming out of 4. And it's still not the best of angles there. You can see the cone there with that yellow line. You can just see it right at that kind of the blue sponsorship there, though. That used to be just the commitment cone. Now it's the commitment cone and the pit speed limiter. So it's basically one line kind of closer. So they actually have to slow down sooner than they used to be able to. and that's going to catch a lot of guys out. I saw a lot of practicing being done, but for the guys that this is kind of their bread and butter, they're having to relearn their braking points. So we'll see kind of who has been able to react to that and be ready for it.
Yeah, and it's definitely something you got to execute here. And what really just scares me back to that Maxwell situation is right here what is happening right now. These guys are getting comfortably single file. And we speak about it all the time, from that front car to that back car sometimes is upwards around 2 seconds. And if you make one little mistake where you overshoot your pit box, or you accidentally click on right sides, that can really end your night. And if one little group here makes that mistake, we're going to be spread out, and that's when the chaos or anything really the odds start to slim down. So I think this pit stop right here, Gael, is going to be a very important one.
Yeah, no, and that's exactly it. And the other part is we're going to have a little bit of a split strategy because, like I said, it's going to be Hayden Davis, Jack Walls, Bud Steele, and Joshua Heibaugh. They're going to be the first drivers to have to hit pit road no matter what. And I think Maxwell is doing exactly what you just talked about, worrying about being a little further back here because he's trying to jump to the top, steal some draft here, and see if he can claw his way further forward. But the problem is doesn't have the drafting help as of yet. So, and again, with that right front damage as well, that car's not going to suck up nearly as well. So he's kind of between a rock and a hard place where he's not going to get just kind of the overall speed that he would without the damage. And then, of course, with him working that top side, he's just having to try to work a little harder, too. So it just depends on if the inside lane checks up a bit. He might be able to start kind of clawing his way forward. But, yeah, he's going to have to try to find some drivers to partner with. And I think the momentum is starting to go the right way for him here. He's going to pick up some help, it looks like, with the 55 of Dean Wilkinson. And, yeah, like I said, P1's still about 5 laps away for all these drivers. So, but you can see, though, a few drivers that were rolling in the back, like Dean and Bob, they're starting to consider that outside lane. I saw Dean work up there. Bob's kind of gone along with him there in the 08 as well. So, but you can see, though, the momentum just is not there for them. They're going to have to probably drop back out in line soon, as Maxwell's just now got to the 10 car, but he clears the 101. So right there, Brandon, you're talking about, he gained about, I'd say, 4 or 5 spots there. Now back to the inside line, so that's a really good move for him just to kind of get that a little bit closer because, like you said, it was spreading out a fair bit. It was about almost 2 seconds from the first car to the last car in that draft, and it started to tighten up to about 1.2 seconds now between first and 18th.
Yeah, and that can really, it's like you said, some of these drivers might not understand that some of these guys stayed out or they're going to be coming in a couple laps early. So not only does that's going to put some gaps in some spots here, and if somebody's not paying attention, you can get your race car turned around really easily. And the really bad thing here about Daytona is that the apron is so massive that iRacing doesn't throw a caution, and it can end your night really quickly. So I like that move, being a little bit more aggressive there by the 94, getting up there, making sure you're with the same the lead dogs that that are going to be up there and execute very well. So I think like whatever all these drivers talk about is the comfortability of who you're around. So you can see Maxwell moving up, and I like where Bud Steele's mind was tonight before he got here. That race car, I took a peek at it, good looking race car, and it's 5 o'clock somewhere. So I like where Dean's thinking, or Bud, excuse me.
Yeah, Bud's always got some fun paint schemes as well, and yeah, I think the Margaritaville back on that one. Yeah, that color scheme, and just oh man, it's so good. Like I said, he's run some Margaritaville schemes before, but just the color theme and the patterns and everything like that. Same thing again. These are just things that Bud does on his own, but they're so good. And so, almost every week he's got something for us to kind of to check out and keep an eye on. And again, that's not a knock on the guys that run the same schemes each week. It's just one of those things that everybody's got their thing, but likes to kind of shake it up a little bit and have fun with it. So it's really cool to see. But yeah, and you're mentioning though the being comfortable with those drivers around you, 100% that. And I think that's where, like I said, the strategies and being the guys around you. So we know the 88's comfortable with the 24s. Bob Fitzgerald there had a moment there through the trial, kept it pointed in the right direction. He was definitely having to wheel it. That's going to cost him a ton of momentum, so he's going to have to try to find somewhere to maybe either slot back in line or just, again, wait for that momentum to shift back to the top side. But looking at the car, I think he's gotten away with it. Didn't see any damage there when I caught a quick look at it. So think he kind of dodged one there. So we'll keep an eye, though, overall. But, yeah, right now, though, Gabe still leads the way. He's got Hayden Davis behind him, Everett Lane just outside his right rear quarter. And we're about to start lap 25. So we're getting to that window here, as we talked about. And I haven't mentioned tonight, Brandon, is we got to check out our money lap tonight. And that is going to be lap 35 this evening.
Oh, that's that. That's gonna be a little interesting. That's about right around where we're gonna have to start bringing these things down pit road. So, are these guys catching Gary Huffine?
Oh, yeah.
So I think this is gonna be good for Gary. Nobody else is a lap down. He's gonna be the only guy. But not only that, he gets to pit with these guys, and had to pit by yourself, and then them passing you. While you're pitting, it's a mess. You can lose a lot. Gary's actually going to benefit from this.
Yeah,
I think
he may be. No,
yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I was gonna say he's gonna have to pit soon because he actually was one of those that stayed out, and so he's been by himself this whole time, burning the most fuel. So I would suspect Gary's actually probably going to be the first to hit pit road, which is going to put him in an awkward spot here if he's going to have to stay low or if he's going to jump top or not. And I'll say because if he knows he has to pit, he may opt to stay. Hey, I got to run the bottom, so I got to pit. And I already see Gabe starting to drift up a little. Oh, this is where you don't want to do both. And he's able to get to the apron. But watch for the 00. I think he's going to have to hit pit road here. So now he's got to hope that these guys on the inside line can drift up a lane to let him slot back in here. But right now, you can see the flames come out. He's had to roll out of it. That's the exact opposite of what he was hoping to have there. So that's a tough one because I think he's going to be in that boat you talked about there, losing the draft once more. But I'm waiting to see, do we see any takers yet? Answer is no. Yes, Mike Allen's going to be the first one in. He's going to bring Gary along with him. Oh, that's way too hot for Mike Allen. That is going to send him around. Gary, nice and safe in, but say now that 13's got to try to get refired and get the gear going. There he goes. But yeah, that's going to obviously cost the 13 that draft as well.
Yeah, and I think I don't think Mike Allen might be the only driver that does that. I think we might see somebody else, like you said, that cones a lot earlier, and these guys have not. I don't think. We had a 30-minute practice before this, but I don't think a lot of these guys have had much time to practice this. So not only that, but you're coming around some guys that maybe haven't practiced it at all. So this could be a very chaotic pit stop, and we see some guys right here say, "Yep, we got some teammates. Let's go ahead and pit together."
Yeah, these are the Roswell guys. There's a lot of lockups.
Yeah, I think they're all speeding. Holy crap,
possible.
That's going to be close.
Well, I can confirm Mike Allen was an unsafe entry, and speeding, I guess you could say. So yeah, so we'll be watching Jim, Bud, Jack, and Hayden, see how they all get through. But yeah, you're right though. So they decided to come in a little early. You can see there, Gary Huffines, he's back up to speed here, and now he needs to try to see, like you said, try to tag onto the back of these guys here. He needs to try to keep that draft. So it looks like for the pit stops, 3 of the 4 got away with it. Hayden Davis, Jack Walls, Bud Steele, they're good. They're all together. Unfortunately, the one that got busted is that 51 of Jim Brooks. Here comes the next batch of cars there. Oh, they got 2 of them spinning there. 3 of them spinning around. That's going to catch the 4th. Oh, that's all 4 drivers there. Unfortunately, we just talked about them coming in together there and just pit stop. It's getting them here. And that 101 is, those 2 cars are hooked together here. And man, this is just completely coming undone. Almost looks like to me also here, Brandon, maybe too much rear brakes in these cars. Maybe these guys need to dial a little bit of forward brake in this thing to keep these cars from kind of looping around. So almost to me, the way that they're spinning out on the back end, it looks like they're locking those rears up, and that's what's looping them around.
Yeah, it's definitely caught a lot of these guys, and we're going to look right here. These guys right here, some of the best to do it. Let's see if they've learned. Yep. Oh, it looks like you could see, you could really see the 24. I think you nailed it right on top there, Gallo. You could see the 24. It looked like he was pumping the brakes instead of just pushing on them. You could really see the car kind of lean forward, stop, lean forward, and I think you nailed it perfectly. I think these cars with the rear brake.
So now same thing. Well, to see if everybody was able to get through nice and clean. It looked close for Everett. I'm nervous, I think, the most for him. Now they're waiting on fuel. And there goes Gabe. There goes Doug. I'm looking and seeing. And I think 2 mistakes I'm seeing from this pit stop, though. Eric Laurie was about 10.5 seconds to everybody else, about the 9-second window. So he's going to be close. But Everett Lane, 15-second pit stop. That to me screams 4 tires instead of the 2. Here comes Maxwell. Here comes Bob Fitzgerald, Dean Wilkinson. They're going to be the last to come in. And again, I can't take the fast pair if I'm Maxwell here. There's just too much left of this race. But we're going to watch closely. We'll see how that right front looks. And he is going to keep the fast pair in his pocket. So just kind of what we were thinking there is exactly what it's going to happen. And he is already down and away. Quick stop for that 94. And that's exactly what he needs there, as Dean Wilkinson a little further back. Would have liked to be closer there, I know, if I'm Maxwell there. But in all that craziness, I believe possibly led that lap. Not sure if he or Dean will be the one. But we're going to look out the back of that 94 car because that looked like a very clean in and out lap. So this is exactly what he needs in order to try to cycle back with our leaders here. So we'll see if job's done. He is hustling that car through the apron there. Great pit exit for him as well. Now he's just got to get through the gears quickly and try to see if he can pull this draft here. You're going to see a train here being led by Gabe Butler. It's going to be led by Jim Brooks. He's trying to stay in the tail end of the lead lap here in that 51.
Yeah, don't worry about it, Maxwell. If you ain't got a mark on the race car, was you really racing? But I think he's going to be all right here. Going to catch this group right here. And what a tough break for some of those guys. This pit entry really got them. And we talk about it in the interviews, with the drivers. It's not just people, a lot of people think in these super speedway races, the tracks are so big and they say, oh, you're just wide open the whole way. It doesn't take much skill, compared to other types of racing. And it's a different type of skill that you have to do this. And not only that, it's just like a regular race. You got to drive a complete race every single lap and pit, everything. It all matters. And we've seen some guys get bitten tonight so far, and the odds of a caution starts to slim down for some of these guys. So for some playoff drivers, some tough breaks.
That's exactly it. Actually got one. Oh, Dean Wilkinson, he's got something going on with the 55. Not sure if he had an issue or if just, again, maybe some sort of a failure or some sort of a hardware thing. I'm going to do a quick rewind so we can try to see if we can catch it here. But that car just kind of, oh yeah, something. Is that a bump gone wrong or is that a hardware issue? Oh yeah, I could see the car slow down. He gets caught by Everett Lane. One more look at this one here. But I'm wondering if something's going on with that 55. We mentioned he missed the start of the race. So we'll look one more time here. And I was watching the pipes, is usually the telltale. Look for the flames, which actually I think is going to be at the right side. But yeah, that car, to me, kind of abruptly slows down. Maybe not abruptly, but definitely more than Everett expected. So then he's able to catch it. And does he catch? Yeah, just a little catch to the outside wall there. So let me jump back live. He is back still running, but this is maybe the Halloween schemes. Let's say if we're kind of running into even though we're Sunday, kind of the Friday the 13th type situations going on right here with some of these guys. But again, tough situations for a lot of them. But what I'm afraid to do, but I need to do is I'm looking at this group here, someone we have not talked about, and that's that 4th car in line. 3rd overall is Jim Duda in that number 33. He's up 13 spots right now into that 3rd position. He's had a nice and quiet evening. I've been spying the Discords. He's on his own in Discord, same as Maxwell. So he's done a great job here, just kind of minding his P's and Q's and staying out of trouble, and has done a great job so far. There you see Justin Davis with a little blink there out of that 10 car. And right on cue also here, Brennan. Lap 35, here we go.
Yeah, it's going to get some little bonus, bonus money, correct?
Yes,
a little bit of bonus money in your pocket. And Jack Wallace, I think he's going to go on vacation. I think that is for a couple weeks. Might as well buy a couple drinks on the house here and get up there and steal this bonus money away, as that outside lane is hustling up there.
Well, I'll say, yeah, I mean, and so you talk about getting a couple drinks there. What better place than at Margaritaville, because that's who's pushing them, and that's that number 6 of Bud Steele. We'll see if they can get there. Again, Gabe is behind Jim Brooks, so Gabe's not going to be the first car in line. There goes Gabe. He says, no. I'm going to take that top spot, as it will be the 88 who gets that money lap tonight. And, yeah, I think he saw the writing on the wall. Is like, yeah, you know what? I don't think I'm going to hold the spot if I do that. and so he's going to grab that lap 35 completion. And now, though, what do you do here with these guys? Because obviously for Jim Brooks, he wants to stay in front because right now he's tailing the lead lap. And his biggest fan in all of this at the moment is Robert Amaral, because right now Robert is the first car one down. And he does have help now with Dean Wilkinson, Bob Fitzgerald, which is good for them. Again, limit that time loss. So, but right now you can see, though, these guys have really kind of just doubled up a little bit now with that single file train that we talked about. That money lap kind of shook everything up. And so we'll see if they stay like this, Brendan, or are they going to maybe try to find a way to get back in line here. But right now, don't see any openings forming for these guys. So the 51 leading lots of laps, but unfortunately not as the official leader of this race.
Yeah, I'm getting reports from the pit reporter. The 88 team said we drink out of a mug around here with our Guinness, and no margaritas, full Guinness around here. So looks like a couple Guinness on the house tonight for him. So what better way to top that off and for a win? And I kind of like this move right here, pushing the 51. We talked about we don't know what's going to happen with the fuel or anything like that from the early caution. So get back here, not be burning up a bunch. You can really ride behind the 51 and stay calm, as this is only about a group of 10 up here. No reason to get out there and really force the issue.
Yeah, and the other thing I do need to mention is a great job Everett Lane. Again, we were worried about him losing the field because he had that 15-second pit stop. So he had a 5-second deficit coming out of pit road, but was still able to catch back up to those guys. So he did a really good job getting out of pit road through the apron there, through 1 and 2, and getting pulled right back up. So well done by him in that 24 car. And I'm looking at total pit times as well, because he was basically in pit lane total 40.9 seconds for him in the 24. And then one of the fastest ones, I believe, was Maxwell Caldwell. We talked about him needing to get that really good in and out lap. He was 35.93. So again, 5 full seconds quicker on pit lane total, including that pit stop. So he fully executed just like you talked about, Brad, and just got to be perfect there in and out. And like I said, just to minimize that damage that he's got to avoid any troubles as we just cross halfway. And right now, Gabe Butler is leading Jim Brooks' tail end of that lead lap we just mentioned. And like you talked about, Brandon, we got the top 10 all in this front pack. We saw a little bit of a contact from the 24 and the 55. Again, not sure if something happened to Dean there or not. It was kind of hard to see. But the 55 is in 11th. Bob Fitzgerald is in 12th. And then we jump back to Dale Rapp, who is in that 13th spot. He still is on that lead lap as well. Then we get to the tail end of the lead lap, Jim Brooks in the 51. And then drivers 1 or more down. First is going to be the number 77 of Robert Amaral. And then you got this group here with Mike Allen and Gary Huffines. And then a little further back, you've got Joshua Highball and Anthony Lane. So right now, kind of a couple, basically 4 packs right now. As I say that, Joshua Highball's got a bit of a connection issue that has not come back. That's never a good sign. And he is one of our playoff drivers. Now he's popped back in line. But you can see what Anthony there, he just basically backed out and said, I don't know where you are. Oh, we got contact. Went back to the front, saw contact there with the 83 and I think the 714. But again, everybody able to hang on to it. But as I say, even in the front pack here with the top 10, things are still kind of on edge here.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of moving around here. And one thing for the 94 is he does have that little bit of damage, but he's sitting in 9th right now, and the 88 has got that bonus point for leading the lap. And right now the 83 is putting a little bit of pressure there on the 88, but nobody was there before, and he's just clicking back, laps led, and he'll get another bonus point for that if he does, a couple more for leading the most. And if he gets the win, he'd be right there with Maxwell. So Maxwell's got to stay right there on that wheel. Hopefully, Gabe's got a lot of Bunaka guys and some other playoff drivers up there as well. So definitely race not over.
Yeah, no, and right now, like I said, Max just needs to basically race to the last pit stop, and then from there start to figure out what you want to do. And I'm going to mention the pit stop sequence as well, because Jack Walls pitted at 27, but Steele pitted at 27. And they've been up top by themselves for the longest time, so they're burning the most fuel as well in this situation here. And we'll say we're going to be approaching lap 50 in about 8 laps time, so they'll probably be able to go to, I'd say, 50, I don't know, maybe 52-ish, somewhere in that window is my guess. But again, though, now they're having that situation where they're having to probably at this point drop to the back. 'Cause again, nobody's going to want to give them the spot because they want to keep that track position for themselves. us drivers are pretty greedy. So what I do think could happen here is I believe they're also working with the 19 of Hayden Davis with Roswell. So I think what we could expect to see would be the 19, the 83, and the 6 come in, along with that 51 of Jim Brooks, who right now is leading that train. And it most likely would have to be Jim actually to be the one to say, hey, I got to pit this time, because he's the one that's been out front leading this race, burning the most fuel. So I would say expect to see the 51 to be the one to kind of bring that group into pit road. And right now, again, you can see Jackie's trying to get there, but just can't quite do it. And right now, like I said, you can see the 83 and the 6, they've separated themselves a fair bit. Wondering if there's indecision of try to get to the front or try to just get back in line.
Yeah, with those pit stops coming up, and we know as these playoff races start to, we'll only have 2 left after this, and with how tough we've seen pit road be tonight, do you think this is where you be a little bit more competitive? Normally these guys would let them know, hey, on the backstretch, I am coming down this time. Do you think maybe hey, we're not going to tell anybody when we're coming, just our team. We're coming with just our team. We'll peel off. We know when to peel off now. We've seen the team Boot Knocker, they executed it pretty well, and say, hey, we're going to split ourselves up from these guys and try to break away and just have it as a race for ourselves, because we've seen on that very first one, if you enter too late and you try to get on those brakes too quick, you'll come around. So do you think this is where you turn up that little bit of competitiveness and say, I'm not saying a word, we're just going to come down?
I think it's not a bad idea. Yeah, if you can do it safely, I think it's definitely worth an attempt for sure. The other thing that we don't very frequently mention with these cars is the only in-car adjustments you can make in these things, Brendan, is brake bias. So basically you set your static brake bias, let's say 60%. You can adjust up or down 3%. So if you start at 60, you can go down to 57. You can go up to 63. So in this situation, we saw a lot of drivers having that rear brake issue. If I'm those guys, maybe crank that brake bias up as far forward as you can, just see if maybe it'll help offset that little bit of rear brake issue we saw from some of those guys getting onto pit road. Because again, everybody's probably had what they used to run, may not apply anymore. So that's going to be another thing to watch for. But yeah, like we talked about though, probably another 6 or so laps until that window officially opens. But right now, the 83 and 6 still pinned to the top side. And again, just burning fuel, running the longer distance, and pretty much, I'm sure, having to stay foot to the floor here. So, not a situation that I really like, because, again, they also were the ones that pitted the earliest. So, what's going to happen for these guys is they've got to try to make sure all 4 of them get in and out together, if that is indeed their strategy. But I've been watching Jim. He's been peeking up a little bit. Wonder if he's trying to. Yeah, I think he's trying to steal a little bit of draft here for Jack and Bud, get him a little further forward when he's able to, without risking giving up that top spot with Gabe behind him. So let's say I think the 51's trying to work a little bit to help his teammates while still holding that tail end of the lead lap position.
Yeah, not a bad little move, because you're definitely gonna, like you said, that's some guys he's gonna want to pit with. So why not try to get them to the, close to the front as possible, and still keep those guys, because the 88, he's not going to run you over or anything like that, especially with pit stops right around the corner. So just cruising right now, and not only that, it's probably helping the 88 maybe get, God knows how much he may save, maybe an extra lap by just sitting there riding. So Jim helping out some teammates any way he can, and but it's about to pick up. Guy, if I'm these guys, I'm pitting like they make you pit at Atlanta. I'm slowing down in turn 3 because that first group just caught so many. I mean, that can just ruin your night so quick that I wouldn't want to make that mistake.
Yeah, and I'm looking at that first pit stop. So you had 5 cars get caught on that first pit stop: the 81, the 101, the 13, the 77, and the 51. So out of 19 drivers, a quarter of them got caught for that penalty on entry, just speeding on entry there. And then, of course, unfortunately, we saw the Silver Fox Racing team just anything that could go wrong in that pit stop did go wrong, where it seemed like I think 3 of the 4 of them had too much rear brake and it spun them around, and all of them had some sort of an issue on that pit stop cycle. So, and again, and the thing is too, I mean, I've been watching, those are some of the guys I talked about that I watch them week in, week out. They make sure they get in the draft, they practice together. So you just wonder, again, just maybe trying to get a little greedy, get in that little extra under green flag conditions in the race. It's always a whole different animal than in practice. So really, really tough break for them. But again, though, Still got another, 28, 27 to go here at the line. Right now, Robert Amaral is still the first car one down. But the problem is for those playoff drivers, the 00, the 101, and the 81, they sit 17th, 18th, 19th, one lap down. Dean Wilkinson, same boat. He is in 15th, way off the draft. So really, like I said, you look at that top 10, and just the odd ones out are Jim Duda, Jack Walls, Bud Steele. Those are the only non-playoff drivers in this main pack. So every little position you can get is going to be so crucial tonight.
Yeah, and I mean, the guy leading, he talks about it a bunch, the consistency, you got to be consistent. And he was probably one of the most consistent this year. I believe he led the whole league in top fives. I think he had 8 or 9 of them. And that's how you can win a championship. You don't have to win them all. But if you can consistently be up there top 2, 3, 4, then points add up really, really quickly. And continue it on tonight. And I think that's where we touch back to how Maxwell says it's how tough it is to beat these guys. And, we kind of, messed with them a little bit about it, but it's very tough. These dudes are so consistent. They're good. I mean, they caught a break, Vicente not here tonight, Cody not here tonight. So it's hurt a little bit because that pressure's not up there on these guys as much. So Maxwell, a single card team, but it's tough to beat these guys. And when you got a track like this and it's hard to pass, and a pit road being the way it is, it makes it even tougher. So then wins when you can get them, enjoy them, because they're tough to come by. But lap 50, coming to lap 51, about, what do you say, 3 or 4 till we hit pit road?
Yeah, I think at most, actually, because again, with them pitting at 27, that we talked about the window being about 25. So yeah, I think probably in 2 laps, I'm going to say, maybe not this time, but next time, I think we see the pit stop start to form. And we saw there, as we're talking there, Brandon, Jack and Bud said, we tried, we got to give, we can't. They weren't able to find anywhere to slot in. And I'm looking at the timing and score. You can see it on the left there as well. They're about 1.1 seconds off of Gabe. So again, the one thing that they do have here is, again, in the situation that Jim is in, he can kind of still, even though they're separated a fair bit, Jim can kind of be that little extra drafting help where if they can all come in and get out together, Jim can kind of try to use himself as being that driver to pull them along. So we'll see. And yes, okay, no takers yet. Again, kind of what I expected to see. I think next time by would be the earliest, because we're now 24 to go, 23 next time. Because again, we always talk about the schedule distance, Brandon, 75. But again, this thing could go all the way into the 80s with those 2 green-white checkers. So do you pit as soon as you're in your window? Do you put enough fuel in for that? Or do you say, I'm taking that gamble, put a little less fuel in, make sure I can only get to 75, and if I got to splash at the end, I'll splash at the end. So those are those gambles you got to make. And then back to Maxwell, like you talked about, now it's that tough decision. Do you take that fast pair or not? Because this could be the final run to the end. So I can tell you, though, we had 3 more hit pit road. That was the 52, the 00, and 13. They're making their final schedule stop. Here's the answer. Jim's in this time. Gabe's up top. So watch to see. Here come the Roswell guys. Actually, just 3 of them. The 19 stays out. I thought he would go with them. And you can see much more cautious on that one. I think Bud's going to be safe. Locked him up a little bit, but I think they'll be okay here. Now they just got to make sure they nail those pit stalls.
Yeah, and that's what I was getting ready to say. I would be the last group that comes. I would want to see if anybody else makes a mistake or anything like that, just so I know it's odd. Yeah, and that's going to be a tough break here. These guys are now they're going to have to really wait on Bud to catch them. 2 cars you'll just be too slow. You're really going to need 3 to make speed. And Jim Brooks, did he get snagged? He's still sitting there quite a bit.
He may have got caught again, yeah, as that car's not rolling. So again, and I think Bud did too here, Brandon. So Jack's the only one with a clean entry. So the 6 and the 51 get busted here. And so that leaves Jack by his lonesome, unfortunately. And so, like you said, if you wait long, you can see what everybody else does. And that puts less pressure on the boot knockers. So now what you do if you're these other guys, if you're some of these guys that are kind of off on your own, like Jim Duda, as well as Maxwell Caldwell, if you see them pit, you pit. You don't take any risks here. You come in with those guys because you just don't know if anybody else is going to run those extra laps. But if the 88's in, the 714's coming in, the 071's coming in, the 24's coming in. So you got to come in with those guys now. There's no strategy at this point with everything that's been going on tonight. So yeah, now we just got to wait and see when the 88 decides to make that left-hand turn onto pit road, and it is now.
Yeah, a lot of cars coming here. You can
Oh,
see
Jim's
Gabe stay
hot.
way. Yeah. Ooh,
Um,
pretty
I'm
clean.
gonna be clean, but did anybody get a little too speedy on the entry? Look how crowded this pit lane is. Everybody's trying to find their stalls. The
Oh,
33. Is he too close to the inside? Is it? Oh, he is. He's too close. He has to get lined back up. This is so difficult for all these guys. It looks like, though, again, the boot knockers may have done their job here. We'll watch for Gabe. Gabe's not rolling. Yep, there he goes. Maxwell, again, great pit stop by the 94 car. The boot knockers coming out together. We got to take a close look at the 94. Look at that right front fender. Is he all better or not? And that car looked pretty shiny to me, Brandon. I think he said, you know what? If I'm going to be out front here at the end, I got to have the best car I can have, and that is exactly what he has done here. Taking the gamble, taking that fast repair here. You got to take the risk for these championships.
yeah, and I could be wrong, but I think he did the same thing as he did last week also when he got the win, and that was have an excellent last pit stop. And he definitely got out in front of these guys, but definitely got to get up to speed because he was in a nest there. He had Team Bootnaka and then Justin and Hayden Davis. Justin, Hayden, they both ran a little bit with Team Bootnaka, so there was definitely a lot of guys around him that was friendly. So got to get up to speed here, but they're spreading out. They're only going to have about 20 laps to go or so. A lot of spread out, though, here.
Yeah, 20 to go here. He is our leader. He does lead that lap. However, he's in a tough spot here, Brandon, because, again, it's a great job for him. He was in and out by far the quickest of anybody. He needs help, though. That's the problem right now. Look behind him. He's at the 88, the 24, and the 714 teammates. So what's going to happen here, I presume, is you're going to see Gabe have that big head of steam, said, don't mind if I do. And we'll probably see Everett go right along. Let's see, waiting to see. I think Gabe's going to wait here. He says, you know what, let's try not to bring maybe anybody into this fight yet. And maybe they'll wait towards the end here. So I think they're actually not going to rock the boat here. They're just going to kind of push Maxwell, try to get this race as far completed as possible before they need to start racing it out. Because right now, like you said, there's still 19 to go. It's pretty much a full fuel run. So what we got now is, let's run through the field and we'll go over what we got here, Brandon. As it will start with our race leader, Maxwell Caldwell, plus 11 in the lead at the moment. Final stops are done for our leaders. Gabe Butler, no, right on cue. He said, no, I am going to go now. He's going to jump to the top here. Maxwell, unfortunately, just sitting duck here. 88 goes back to the point. Everett Lane is going to go along with him, as is that 714 of Doug Webb, and the three of them will clear that 94 car. So those are now the top three. Maxwell now sits in fourth, and then you got to go back about 8 seconds now to Hayden Davis, who's working with cousin Justin Davis. They sit fifth and sixth. Justin in the playoffs, so if he can snag that spot from Hayden, that'd give him that one extra point, which you just never know. And then it is just a single file space out right now, Brandon. In seventh, you got Jack Walls. He's all by himself here. He's got about 7 seconds in front of him, 7 seconds behind him with Jim Duda. Same thing on his own here in that 33 car in eighth. Bob Fitzgerald, Dean Wilkinson, they are together. They are catching Jim. They're about 2 seconds back in closing. Bob in ninth, Bob Fitzgerald, Dean Wilkinson, I'm mixing them up tonight. Dean is in 10th, apologies again. And then you jump back to Dale Rapp here. So now this is where things get a little kind of mixed up right now. So Dale Rapp at the moment is pretty much tail end of the lead lap as things sit. Then you jump back to Eric Laurie and missed this one, unfortunately, during this whole thing. Eric Laurie, another driver that caught speeding on entry. So now he also sits tail end of the lead lap in that 071. We'll see if there's maybe some strategy here. I was thinking maybe his teammates will try to jump up there with him and push him to the tail end of the lead lap, but Gabe's going to keep going. Bud Steele is now the second car one down, I believe, here with everything going on. But we're going to jump back up front because I believe... so right now it's actually Dale Rapp. Now Dale is the first car one down, and Maxwell's trying to use this as an opportunity to see if he can steal some spots here. And yeah, he's going to say, hey, if you guys can get some positions, as I say that, close contact with the 24, the 88 there, the 51. That was very, very close. And I say Maxwell's trying to make something happen there to find somewhere to get some position. But again, long ways to go in this race. So now he's just got to use these other guys, say, hey, I know I've got four teammates now because Eric Laurie's in that mix. but maybe I try to find something that I can do to give myself an opportunity. So going back to the lap down cars, though, that did now just put Eric Laurie back in the first spot, one down in the lucky dog position in the 071 as he got that penalty. Bud Steele is the second car, one down at the moment behind Jim Brooks. Then you got Dale Rapp there. It was one I was about to mention there, who was in the top spot for just that moment as Eric Laurie. Actually, he's hitting pit road now. Or no, I think Eric Laurie just got a bad bump here. Let's go back now and watch this. There's a lot happening here. Oh, I think he gets a bump from Maxwell out of 4. Yeah, he does. He gets a bump from Maxwell out of turn 4 and somehow hangs on to this thing. So you can see him hit the cone. I think it'll probably give him an unsafe pit entry. I don't know if that's something that they'll clear or not. That's an admin thing to do. But, Brandon, it's getting hectic here. I can't even get through all the field because it's a lot going on. So we'll do a speed run here. Got Robert Amaral 14th. Gary Huffines is in 15th position. He's got Mike Allen right along with him. Jim Brooks is in that cluster of the cars in the 17th position. He is now 2 down, unfortunately. And he's got Joshua Heibaugh and Anthony Lane there, 18th and 19th. And I'm not even bother trying to catch up anymore because it's gotten crazy. Let's get back to the front as now we're back with the top 4 drivers in those top 4 spots. Jim Brooks right now in 5th, but again, 2 down. So the next driver for position is Hayden Davis, who again, 13 seconds back. So there's a whole bunch of cars in this train, Brandon. Only 4, the top 4 of those are potential winners of the race as things go, unless a yellow.
Yeah, and this is, I think, where Maxwell's really, he's got a, this is, I think, could have a lot to do with the season. He's used his last fast repair. If something does happen, I think right now, I mean, I know you want to win, but I think you're in the best case scenario possible, really. The 3 guys in front of you are all teammates. None of them are going to step out of line with you. If you go for the win and you tear up your race car, it's over. And you're going to lose a lot of spots. Right now, you got a couple, 7-point lead. 4th would keep you right there in the fight. But I think, I thought there for a second Maxwell said he's got a different plan. But I think right now, if I'm Maxwell, I'm comfortable. I gained a lot of spots. Like you said, he was up a bunch earlier. And it's going to be tough because nobody's going to step out of line. And how many of those guys behind you are going to step out of line? Some of those guys lap down. And you got to make friends quick. This is tough when you're running solo.
Yeah, he's kind of in a tough position here. But the thing is, you can see they're coming up on more cars. I mean, we're going to have over half the field back together in a pack. But again, only 4 of these drivers being in the lead lap. So he's just got to bide his time because, again, we're not even down to 10 to go yet. And I think what he needs to do is he needs to try to pick and choose when to actually try to be the one to lead the outside lane because inevitably somebody's going to try to go with him. It could be that 00 of Gary Huffines. It could be Jim Brooks. I mean, again, there's a lot of cars that he can work with. And again, a lot of these guys are going to say, hey, if I push Maxwell, that's going to put me as the first car 1 down. If something happens, I could get my lead or my lap back. So right now, that would be in the position of Bud Steele because, again, at some point, he's going to start to feel a pressure from that 52 of Dale Rapp. So there's a lot that can happen here in these remaining 11 laps here at the line. I'm going to say at this point pretty confidently, Gabe Butler, he's going to lock up the bonus point for most laps led in that 88 car. So that'll be those 2 extras. And so now this is where if I'm Maxwell, exactly what he just did there. He sees Bud going to the top. He sees the 101 going there too. Says, all right, they're working the top lane. Let me see if I can lead that lane, get the push I need here, have a chance to try to win this race. And again, still a long ways to go. And there goes Everett, says, no, thank you, sir. And he's going to get a big bump. He's going to jump top here. Will he get the help he's hoping for? He is not going to at the moment. We'll see where Bud stays. Bud staying in the middle. And I can feel the anger inside that 94's helmet rising right now, Brandon, because he's just trying everything he can. And he's like, all right, here's the opportunity I have. And then Everett says, nope, I'm going to make sure it's going to be settled amongst the 2 of us if I can. And so watch for those 94. He's going to give some big pushes, I think, to try to clear that 24 off of the 88.
Yeah, and I think this is where he's just got to stay calm. You got to understand you're up in the top 5. Cody not here tonight. Some guy, Vicente not here tonight. There were some guys not here. So them guys that was up there, I didn't see Dude here tonight. He was up there in points. So there's some guys that were up there with you that's not here tonight. So get as many points as you can and because come Talladega, Cody and those guys are going to be back, and you can throw haymakers, plenty of room at Daytona to throw haymakers. We just seen these cars be such a handful here tonight. I want to just collect as much as I can so I can be there at the end.
Yeah, and that's a really good point too, and that might be the strategy for me too at this point is, hey, the way things are looking, I may not be able to make a move on Everett to win this race. What I can do is put Everett ahead of Gabe in order to kind of maximize the points I can on the 88 car. Because again, I mean, he's racing all of them for the championship, but in the points position going into tonight's race, Gabe was the closest to him. So if he could find the way to get that 24 ahead, that would take those 5 bonus points away for the win. That would go a long, long ways towards things. Obviously, it'd bring Everett even closer, but those are those little things. Like I said, it's hard to do in the heat of the battle. It's easy for us because we're sitting here watching it from up top, but little things can go a long, long ways. And like right now, I'm watching the timing and scoring right here. It is thousandths of a second between two. You can see nothing egregious there. Just trying to bump the 24, keep that nose ahead if he can. But again, these bumps just are unsettling these cars as we're down to 8 to go. And again, the 4 that can win this race at the moment are those first 2 rows here. Will the drivers a lap or more down? Can they find a way to maybe help one of these drivers still also win this race? Again, big pushes from the 94. I feel like he will probably try to run the third lane at some point or another. But just again, I don't know if he's going to have any commitment from Bud Steele. But again, for Maxwell, like you said, keeping himself calm, can't overheat that engine, trying to push Everett too hard here to clear the 88. So he's got to he's got to just mind the big picture in this one.
Yeah, and I think you made a great point there with Everett, pushing Everett to the win. If Everett wins this race, Maxwell I would assume, looking at the points, he would actually still be the points leader. So I really like that move, push to 24, and right now you're the 24. How hard do you go, 95, 97%, it's a team thing here. You're going to get a lot of points, but there he goes. He hits that third lane and it's going to go around. Now, how much is the 24 going to lose because of this?
Yeah, the big thing is can Bud Steele clear? No, he can't. So Maxwell now is going to he's going to have to commit to get back to that middle lane. Tried to bring Bud along with him, couldn't do it. So now he's just got to try to do what he can here. Gabe's going to take the middle lane away now, and now he's going to be stuck behind him in the 88, and that's going to possibly open up Doug Webb to the inside line. And again, I mean, I'd say Max is probably feeling like a David versus Goliath battle going on right now as he gives a shot to Gabe there entering turn number 1, a little loose, close with the 24 and the 51. And again, everything's just shaking up so much now. That's putting Doug Webb in an opening spot for a potential win here, as he's going to get help from Jim Burks on the backstretch. Brennan, we still got 6 to go as the 88. I'm not sure if that was him clearing himself or if that was a bump that just moved the 88 down to the bottom. But watch for Everett now. Can Everett work that third lane and try to see if he can put himself back around the 94? Or watch Doug Webb, if he clears this, he jump to that middle. So I say Maxwell's he's fighting the fight though, man. Right now we're down to 5 to go here.
Yeah, and what a move there. He's got to keep Gabe pinned down there to that lane, because if he doesn't, Gabe can come up there 714, also Team Bootnaka. He can control the bottom, and then if you jump to the third lane to try to get around Gabe, the 24 is just going to fill that hole, and then you're going to drop like a rock. So we talked about it at the beginning, how aggressive is the 94 going to be tonight, and he's going to have to be really aggressive just to keep it up there. Like you say, I don't want to see him tear up his race car, but you don't want to drop too many spots here, getting maybe letting that 88 get too far ahead, and it's just hard when you got his teammate right behind you.
Yeah, I mean, he's in a tough position here, but he's doing everything he can right now. I mean, we saw right there, he just about made that perfect move. He just could not quite get Bud to clear, and you mentioned not losing too many spots, and in my mind, the not losing too many spots is exactly what we just talked about. Just don't. Right now, the worst you can finish if we stay clean and green to the end is 4th. So just don't make anything worse. You don't want to bring a whole bunch of other cars in it, because we could go from 4 to 11, depending on if and when a caution were to fall. As you can see, the 00 now, he's jumping to that third lane. Maxwell's going to have to make a tough choice here. Watch where the momentum going. Momentum stays on the middle, so he's making the right call there. Stay to that middle lane as they come through here again. 4 to go this time, 3 to go at the line. And right now it's anybody's guess. And again, It's not like the 24. I don't think he's going to roll over by any means. It's not going to matter, though. Caution is going to be out. Contact in the back. Who is leading at the time of yellow? I believe it's going to be Gabe. Brandon, we talked about the fuel mileage for 75 laps. We're going to go further tonight. This will be green-white checker number 1, and we're going to have a few more drivers added to the fray here to try to win this race. And we'll have to wait and see who is the first car one down. I believe it could be Bud Steele, who might wind up back in the race here to try to win this one. But let's go back. Let's look at the contact. So I think it was in the back of that main pack here. So let's take a closer look here, as I believe it was around these guys here. The 101, the 81 potentially. Let's get a better shot here. See if we can get a better look at it here as they come out of 4. Yeah, the 101, 81, they just kind of meet each other in the middle. I don't know. I think it's just kind of same real estate. And obviously not intentionally. These are teammates racing with each other. Just unfortunately, they find the way to just kind of got connected there together. And then, again, this has not been their night, because then there's another teammate there, the 77, Robert Amaral. He gets in the back as well. So this is, I say, sometimes as a team, as a driver, you've got those nights to forget. I hate to say it, but this is definitely one of the nights for them to forget. It's just been a tough one this evening. So now, Brandon, pit road will be open. Big question mark is going to be fuel here. Do you have enough to make it on 2 green-white checkers? Do you need a splash of fuel? What are we thinking tire-wise? Are you going to play a fake? Oh, yes, we are. As Maxwell said, nope, I thought about it. I decided otherwise. And so pretty much the only taker... Maybe. Nope, not even Jack Wall. So I'm going to say they're good for green-white checkers. Now we wait for that lucky dog position. Bud Steele is making his way around, so put that 6 car back on the lead lap. And that is a good opportunity for Bud. But again, he will restart tail end of the line with that wave around. So he's going to be 11th, but he's going to be pretty much about 16th or so on the racetrack. But big opportunities now in my mind here, though. I mean, look at some of the guys we're bringing back in the mix here. You got Justin Davis now. He's going to be back in this race to try to get some points. He's in the playoffs. Dean Wilkinson's the one that stands out to me. He has not had a good night tonight with everything going on at the start. Having that contact with Everett where the caution did not come out, where he lost the draft. And now he's right back into the thick of this thing. So, yeah, some big opportunities for that 10 and the 55 to grab a bunch of points here in this closing stages.
Yeah, and if I'm that 10 and that 19, I believe they've been clean for most of the race, and Justin is sitting 6th in points, and we only got about 10 guys on the lead lap. So I'm throwing a haymaker here. I'm telling my cousin, hey, we're going to that 3rd lane, and let's see if we can get something done here off the rip. Because even if we do wreck and have to go to the back, we're only going 2 or 3 spots, and this is that time when you execute, when not all the drivers are an opportunity to get a win. This is when, to me, you throw all your chips in a bag and push it in.
Yeah, no, exactly right. I say this is one of those ones where it sounds terrible, but it's one of those deals where sometimes the other guy's like, hey, they got more to lose than me. So some of those are going to be in that position. Again, some of them won't have a fast pair left. Others will still have one, if not all 2, or yeah, 2 of them. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. And then it's also going to be about lining up here. Gabe's going to have the inside line. He'll put Maxwell up top, which will continue the drafting that they had. You're going to have the 7-14, Doug Webb 3rd, Everett Lane 4th, and then I'll put Hayden and Justin side by side 5th and 6th. And then Dean Wilkinson, Bob Fitzgerald will be 7th and 8th. And right now I think they're in reverse order. They'll have to switch themselves back and forth here. And then Jim Duda, Jack Walls, and like mentioned for Bud Steele on the lead lap, but unfortunately he's got to stay behind all these guys here. So for Bud, this might be one of those ones where you just say, you know what, you guys, let me see how this restart goes. Maybe I can steal some spots at the end, because I don't think he's going to be able to get around what it looks like about 5 or 6 lap cars here on this restart. So I think you just try to keep this car clean. If there's an incident, you just try to steal as many spots as you can from it, see where you wind up on potentially the second restart, or just get through on the white flag and see what you can get there. But I'm seeing a lot of apron driving here, Brandon.
Yeah, in this moment, I always relate back to WWGD. What would Groovers do? Hit that third lane and send it. That's what I want to see. Somebody hit that third lane. We haven't seen it much tonight, but if you're gonna make a move, that's the way to do it right there. I think.
And I think in this situation, let me see the lineup here. Actually, so it is Dean on the outside. That's actually really good from him, in my opinion. So yeah, so maybe again, maybe people who haven't been partnering up so far this evening, maybe Dean and Justin can get locked on together. Because again, it's. But actually, I'm looking behind Dean. Even if it's not teammates, guys you're comfortable with, you're familiar with. Dean's got Jack Walls behind him. We know how good Jack is. They get on really well. It's kind of like I always talk about the Dale Jr., Tony Stewart, and when they ran the Busch Series together at Daytona. They weren't teammates, but man, did they draft well together. So that could be another opportunity here. But this is attempt number one, Brendan. We got two of them if we need them. We'll see what we get here as we're going to start green-white checkered attempt number one. Gabe Butler, Maxwell Caldwell, front row.
Yeah, tough break there. Maxwell's going to have a really good restart, which he does. He's going to need to get up to speed, and hopefully he can clear that 88. He's going to get a little bit of a push from the 24, but can he clear? Oh, that had to be close, tough from that angle. But if you were going to clear, that's where I think you would have hoped to do it. But good restart there by 94 to give it a shot.
Yeah, he was quick on the draw there. But yeah, the momentum shifted back to the inside lane. I see Dean. There's the third lane you talked about. Doesn't have any help yet. Here comes Jack. But is there enough momentum to make this third lane work as of yet? And I don't think it's quite there. Justin Davis did not take the opportunity in that 10 car as we head into 3 and 4. Again, they got to take the white before this thing is an official race to the end. So we'll see if they can get there. Dean, again, he's peeking that third lane. We'll see. Does Justin take that temptation and go up 2? Answer is going to be no. Looking like we will get to the white. Everett's going to try to run the third lane. He's going to, or Maxwell, I should say, is going to block it. We are 1 to go here. Maxwell's trying to work both lanes as best he can. Everett's going to do everything he can to get around him. As, contact in the back here. That's going to take Everett as well. And that is going to leave, looks like a 5-car breakaway here. Look at the 08 Bob Fitzgerald. He's got through all this. He's in the mix now as well. Can Hayden Davis, is he going to try to play spoiler in this one here? As he's going to jump to the top, he's going to try to get the win here in that 19. Maxwell's best chance here is to push that 19 for all he's worth.
Yeah, I tell you what a first win would be here in the playoffs, and nobody wants to see him win more than the 94. That would take all the points away from the 88. He's going to be pushing for all he's worth. And the 714, I just don't know if they're going to have enough. He's going to have, you can see right there, he's pushing tough. Going to have an accident. Gabe Butler is going to pick up the win, though.
Gabe's going to get the win. Maxwell tried to squeeze the middle between that 19 and the 08. Unfortunately, that got them hooked together, and so that does get him third. Obviously not the way he's going to want to do it there. I'm sure he's going to have some mixed emotions on that one. Let's go back to the white, though, because that's where things all got a little wild here. Again, they got to the white, but that was about where it all kicked off. And obviously we saw Everett and Maxwell. Again, Everett's trying to go anywhere he can. Maxwell's running basically trying to block as best he can because, again, he knows he's in between that rock and a hard place. And that's about where the contact occurs. Let's back it down here. Let's try to get a better angle of this one here. This might be a good shot here going down the back. And I said, I'm not even sure if it's related to them. It might. Oh, yeah, no, actually, it's Dean Wilkinson. And, again, nothing intentional. Just Jack is trying to help Dean. There's a bump gone wrong. That sent the 55 out of sorts there, and that got him into the 24. And then there you can see just almost a couple guys getting through there. Jim Duda tried, could not quite make it. The 55 there, the 83. And then at that point, it's just kind of who can grab a gear first and get back going. And unfortunately, you can see a number of cars here getting caught up in this final wreck here. And I believe the one that was able to get the best of everybody's results there was the 83 of Jack Walls, able to grab a gears. Oh my goodness, the 52 I think flipped. We might have to go watch that again. I think some of these guys flipped underneath one another. Bud Steele, actually Bud got a piece of this as well, but still you can see that car stopped in the infield, still winds up in 7th out of all this. So wild ending here on Brandon on this one. We talked about him stealing some spots in the end. Probably not how he was envisioning it happening. But just, yeah, crazy finish here tonight at Daytona. And this is going to be some interesting interviews, I feel like, is the best way to put it on this restart here. As you see, is the 6 maybe going to reverse it to 7th place?
Yeah, I don't know. He's definitely got some damage, and I don't even think that was on the 83. I think, or the 55. I think I would assumed if seeing what them guys getting in the wall, I would assume the 55 let up just a little bit, just a little chain reaction. But um, somehow Maxwell Caldwell still ended up with a third out of all that, so still gonna be okay with some points and maybe get some final results here.
Yep, working on those results before we get a chance to chat with everybody. I think that will definitely be the best way to go about this one. So let's jump back live over here, as it will be at the end here. It's going to be Gabe Butler getting the win as he continues to celebrate, as it will be Gabe Butler over Doug Webb. Maxwell Caldwell showing in third. Apologies for the noise in the background. And then you got Bob Fitzgerald in fourth, Hayden Davis fifth, Jack Walls, we mentioned, able to still get pointed in the right direction there, grabs sixth. Justin Davis, actually, I was showing Bud Steele. I'm showing him now, not where I thought he was. Showing Justin Davis there, seventh. Dean Wilkinson, Jim Duda, Bud Steele rounding out our top 10. And Everett Lane winds up 11th in all of that, unfortunately. 12th, Eric Laurie. And then Dale Rapp, Anthony Lane, Jim Brooks, multiple laps down here. And then you got Gary Huffines, Robert Amaral, and Mike Allen. And then, unfortunately, I'll say the tough night continued as well for our last driver. In 19th is Joshua Haiba, again, one of our playoff drivers. So, yeah, wild one here tonight at Daytona. Gabe's showing off his burnout prowess. But, yeah, we got to do some chatting, and we'll start off with that man who probably felt like he was fighting the world here tonight, Brandon. That's going to be Maxwell Caldwell. So grab Maxwell in here. Appreciate you, Brandon. And yeah, I'm going to let you lead off here, sir.
Yeah, Maxwell, nice little run there tonight. Came in up third, but I was telling Gael that's probably about the best situation before that caution with all those guys up there. How was the run tonight? Was you more of a conservative mode after having to use some of those fast repairs, or what was the mindset?
We couldn't get the race started. I don't understand what happened at the beginning that caused a massive pile up. That put us behind the 8 ball a little bit, and then had to burn a fast repair like immediately. Then the second run, like I just someone in the field was just all over the place, and then when you're side by side, they just turn down and like hook you. I don't understand. We mellowed out a little later, but I don't know in the beginning what we were doing. That was pretty much absolutely embarrassing. But no, mid-race, just driving with damage. Noticed the car would keep a draft, so I wasn't going to fix it until the end. And I can't believe we got the on and off pit road like we did the first run with the damage. Car just hooked up on that apron, and I couldn't believe it. I figured it'd be veering to the right quite a bit. But we ended up getting away with that, blending in with the pack pretty nice. And then that second run, we just rode, biding time. I wasn't going to get most laps led. Gabe had teammates galore to get that to happen. There was no way to do that. So we just got our lap led early, maximized our pit stop, and just rode. And then the last one, I knew the race looked like it was tending to go green there, so I wanted to go ahead and take it fast repair where I'd have the freshest car possible. And we were fine if you could get somebody to commit to you, but outside of boot knocker, everybody's cutthroat. I don't understand why we just bend over and just let these guys run a train each and every week. So you have one team out here that works together, and then everybody else is completely selfish. Like, I'd love nothing more, and I was trying there until he lost momentum to push that 19. Like, I'd rather have seen him win tonight as far as the playoffs were concerned, but couldn't get no momentum. So at that point, he went way high, and that wasn't going to do anything. So at that point, it's like, let's get at least one position. And when I went to the middle, he just kind of came down on me. So sorry to the 19 on that, and really sorry to Everett too. I wasn't trying to do anything malicious there when they went third lane. I had no help behind. I was still clear up, and I just wanted to get in front of that group. And I think they just all started hitting each other really aggressive with the last 2 laps there, and just kind of got all bound up and checked up. So hate it for Everett and those guys. I wasn't trying to screw them. I just knew I was going to be in a real bad spot in the middle if I just let them go to the outside with 2 to go. I mean, I'd have probably finished outside top 10. It would have been bad. So had to do what I had to do there.
No, and I mean, that was what, I mean, Brad and I were talking. It's like, you, obviously, yeah, you had your work cut out for you. And I mean, it was obvious. I mean, you were busting your butt throughout the race tonight. And I think this that stood out to us was honestly both your pit stops. You got in and out faster than anybody on those green flag pit stops. So hats off to you on that. Like I said, you executed perfectly. And we mentioned in pre-races the cone moving forward for the speed line versus what used to be just the commit line. It caught a lot of people out tonight. Was that something you had practiced at all tonight or even before the race this evening? Because, yeah, I mean, it definitely was something that played a big role in the results tonight.
Absolutely not. I practice pit stops like I would any other week just to get a couple runs down, but I didn't even know the line had moved until I heard y'all on the broadcast while I was racing talking about it. Didn't even know that was a thing. So to me, it's just real simple. You see a yellow cone, that's your line. They don't put a cone for the quote unquote commit line. It was just a square box that was on the pavement like that. The only time they put a cone up is for pit road speed. So, in my opinion, I thought it made it even easier to get onto pit road. I seem to have really smooth transitions in doing that. So, I don't know. I kind of saw on the broadcast some freaking pileups at pit entry. I don't understand what caused that because even when I pitted with a big group, it felt very controlled. The brakes weren't really locking. I mean, it was probably one of the better nights to get onto pit road. So I don't understand what that big struggle was. But yeah, I mean, I guess that threw people off. But for me, I didn't even notice it till y'all said something about it. And I bet you when you talk to Gabe, he's probably going to say the same thing. Even though I thought at one point he was going to get an unsafe, he clipped that grass, and I really thought he was going to get something for that.
Well, I say it was not a lack of effort tonight. You had to work extremely hard. Like you said, had to use both fast pairs, but yeah, I mean, you drove your ass off tonight. So definitely a shout out to you for just doing anything and everything you can. Again, obviously it's a short playoff run, so you got to get all you can get. You kicked off really, really well with the win, most laps led, everything like that at Atlanta, and still fought, like I said, fought tooth and nail here. Still grab a podium tonight. So say get a little bit of a reprieve before we get those two final Talladega races for the season's championship. So before we let you go, though, as always, got to give you any thanks and shouts for that podium this evening.
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I mean, it's a blessing to come and race here. It was fun racing tonight. The beginning was terrible, but I mean, once we got going, it was really fun to try to do. It's just so hard without a teammate. But thankful to him for letting me just race with you guys for the many years. I guess I can say plural now that it's been. Took about a year off, but outside of that, pretty much the first league I've been in, and here I am still today, and mainly just trying to get a chip off the shoulder and get one of these super speedway championships. I've won everything else. I just won a super speedway one. Thankful for, I would say, my teammates, but Todd wasn't here tonight. He's out doing real go-kart racing. So typically when Todd's not out there beating up 4-year-olds in go-karts, he's running here with me on Sunday nights. So it just sucks that this is the kind of his big time of that season, and it's also playoffs here, like it's a worst case scenario. But thankful to him and his sponsorship also on the car with Merkle Racing Engines, a longtime sponsor. Met Todd here in Area 51 and then have raced with him in multiple leagues now since and got his sponsorship through all of them. So really thankful and grateful for him and all he does for the team. And then thankful for the league for putting this on and for you guys up in the booth. I mean, Gael, you know as well as I do. I've tried to set up all the OBS, mess with all the stuff, try to get point standings working. Like, it's no easy task, and when things go wrong, it can happen in a hurry and spiral downhill quick. So y'all do a great job putting on a broadcast, keeping it all together, and always got to shout out my peeps at Green White Checker TV.
Nah, I appreciate you, sir. And yeah, it was like I said. I mean, a lot happened tonight, and yeah, definitely. Obviously, I'm sure you missed Todd for sure, and yeah, I definitely love having him. And like I said, we've had him with all the various racing we had, Super Speedway, and then also just the oval stuff we used to do, kind of on the initial get go. So, but yeah, great job tonight, Maxwell. Like I said, you did everything you could there to try to get your best result, and like I said, still able to pull off a podium. So definitely nothing to hang your head on there, sir. And yeah, I'll say we'll look forward to chatting you with those final two races and see where those points shake out, sir.
Absolutely. I think I'm going to have to recruit some guys just to
That's
help
go
at
get
the
some
end here. So
recruiting.
maybe some of the guys that are toward the back of that playoff standing might work with us. If I could have 1 to 2 people, man. Oh, I mean, if I could just do it.
You got some
I
time
think
to do
if I
some
had
recruiting.
one person, we could get them. So
yeah, go work your sales pitch.
Absolutely. Y'all have fun, boys.
You too, Maxwell. Good job tonight, bud.
Thank you.
All right, that is Maxwell Caldwell, our third place finisher. Brandon, we got to jump one spot further forward. That is going to be that 714 of Doug Webb. And say intentional themed or not, we got the spider webs on that 714 car of Doug. And I feel like, Doug, you guys were pretty much the one team that nailed all of the pit stops and everything like that. I know we talked pre-race a little bit, and kind of one of the main topics that was brought up was the pit entry. Because, again, when you get used to something for seasons and seasons, when that pit speed line changes, you kind of have to relearn a little bit, I say. And so it seemed like maybe it was a difference maker to some, not for others. I mean, did you have to adjust for it at all tonight, or was it pretty straightforward for you?
Well, I'll tell you what, I haven't made it to the booth this season, so thank God for that. We had a good race. Uh, yeah, as far as that pit cone, they moved it, and yeah, you definitely have to adjust. When you get used to something, pit entry, and then they change up the line on you, it does throw you out of whack a little bit, and you got to practice and just be patient on your entry. Is what I was practicing on there with the teammates.
Yeah, and
Nope. Hydrogen lost you, Brandon.
yeah, sorry about that there. No, Doug, I was thinking you ran a pretty good race. And does it kind of become at a track like Daytona where you got somebody like Gabe out in front of you, it's such a experience and a winner here with Area 51 in the super speedways? Does it kind of become sometimes like cruise control being right there? You guys you were behind him a lot, and it just seemed like the connection, you could definitely tell, was there. It seemed smooth. A lot of the other drivers were a lot of moving and shaking, but you two seemed like it was like you guys were locked on.
Yeah, I'm new to the team. I was friends with Everett, and he talked to me about coming over. So I came over here and joined Area 51. It's awesome. You guys are awesome. That team is, man, it's a fantastic team. They go out of their way to help me with practicing, pitting, drafting, line craft, just everything. They make it very easy to push them, and just kind of I just follow suit. They're great teammates, man. I'm so blessed and excited to be a part of that. And the results, this is the first season. The results are starting to show. If I can just stay out of trouble and the incidents that happen on the track, I think we can, get some good finishes.
Well, and you mentioned the first podium interview, and honestly, I am surprised by that. I thought you had some already. Truth be told, just from and so first off, congrats there. I mean, that's obviously a really big thing to have in the first place.
That's exciting.
I say if that leaves you, well, I mean, I guess if you want to finish the whole trifecta, you got to get a podium or third, then you can go for that winner interview too, whichever order, it's up to you. But yeah,
Yeah.
and like you said, I mean, Brandon nailed it there, where you guys seem like you guys could bump pretty well, where others, you try to get lined up and they'd get a bump, and you would see that car get off centered from the draft. So like you said, is that just something that you guys are kind of getting that reps in during practice? Or I mean, just is there any, I mean, don't give away secrets, but is there anything that you kind of focus on when you're working with Gabe and Everett and Eric and company?
Well, they're just so good at their racecraft. It makes it easy for the guys behind them to connect and stay connected, just because they're so good at what they do. It's not hard to do when you're behind them guys that they just know what they're doing, and so it makes my job easier if I'm behind them pushing. So it's fun. It's exciting. It's great to be here. My first time. I'm pretty excited about it.
Nah, that's awesome. I say we love first time winners, but we also love getting you guys in the booth for the first time. And saying that's where you got to see if you can learn what to do with your hands, because we got to give you the floor for any thanks and shouts for that podium this evening, sir.
Yeah, I want to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, all my teammates, Just you guys in the booth, Area 51, just for giving me a chance. Y'all do a fantastic job. I couldn't be more happy, to be here and be a part of what you guys are doing. So thanks a lot to all you guys.
Well, great job tonight, Doug. I said you got 2 more to go get one of those wins. Otherwise, we'll be expecting one next season, man. But go enjoy this one. Look forward to seeing
Yeah,
you here in a couple nights' time, sir.
thanks. Appreciate you guys.
All right, Brennan. One last fellow left to chat with, and that is our race winner in that number 88 of Gabe Butler. We saw you earlier practicing your burnouts across this trial or start finish line, I should say, while we were going through the results. Oh man, I say started first, finished first, led the most laps, and nothing else happened in between. It was nice and easy cruise Sunday night, right?
Yeah, I wish it was like that, but it never is in this car. Hey, I'm just glad to get the win, and had we did good in our pit stops. We did a really good job in our pit stops, and it's just one of those races. It's kind of frustrating when you're coming to the end there and you're seeing your teammates getting taken out when they're going to have a good finish, especially that they're in the chase. And but again, it is what it is. We'll bounce back next week.
I'm gonna kind of throw you a curveball here. We've had you up here so many times, and if anybody's I think's got the answer to this, it's you. And I noticed it actually watching these replays during these interviews. I noticed you guys all have Camaros. Do you think that makes a big difference in how good you guys can draft, having all the same body style compared to the different types of body styles that we do have with these cars over here? Because we've seen a lot. We brought it up with Doug how good he was to push with you guys, but we do see the off center with the Ford and Toyotas. Do you think that causes more of the shaking around?
That's a great question. In my opinion, no, because not in this car anyway. Maybe in the Cup Series for sure, because the Chevy has a really pointed nose in the next gen, whereas the Fords, especially the Ford, has a flat nose. But I don't think it's a big deal in this car. I've never experienced. I've never driven a Ford or a Toyota, so honestly, the truth is I can't answer it, but I don't think there's an issue. Maybe next time you get a podium finisher in a Toyota or a Ford, you might want to ask them that question. That's a really good question, though.
Yeah, so and again, we talked to Doug, and he just mentioned how you guys kind of make it easy. It seems like to be able to do the tandem drafting and all that too. So I'm guessing we mentioned with him just kind of getting the reps with everybody. And again, you and Eric and Everett, obviously, you guys have been racing with each other for years. Where it's almost one of those things you probably already know what the other one's going to do, even without Discord. And so, yes, I'm sure that goes a long ways as well. We always talk, obviously, of course, about the selflessness of the team. Maxwell chimed in on that, too, saying that it's hard to go against you guys because of that. He just doesn't feel like the other teams kind of have that dedication that you all have with one another. And again, I'd say it's not a bad thing to have, I guess, is the best way of wording that one. But obviously, we talked about the pit stops and everything. You guys' execution was spot on tonight. We saw, unfortunately, a lot of miscues tonight on pit stops. And yeah, again, kind of the same thing I asked Doug. You've done this obviously for a long time now with us. When there's a big change like that with the cones, how much did you have to spend a decent amount of time kind of readjusting your braking point, or was it one of those like just get a couple reps in and it's like, okay, yeah, no, this seems about right?
You would think just getting a couple of reps in, you would be okay. But I'll be honest with you, I've had a lot of trouble at Daytona with it because you've raced for so many years, for so long with the same braking point and the same commitment line, and it's changed. And muscle memory is a big thing in any sport, whether it be baseball or car racing. If you're driving a road course, you have your braking points memorized and you just go out and do it. And it's the same here at Daytona. I've had my braking points for years and years and years and could really send it in there. And I just find with this new cone, it's just taken me a longer than I thought to get used to it. Maybe some guys are adapting a bit quicker, but I don't think we had any trouble tonight. We kind of took it really easy going in there versus really sending it. So yeah, I can't speak for everybody, but I'm having quite a bit of trouble with it.
So when we get older like us, Gabe, say old habits die hard, and say we
Yeah,
don't like change. So, but no, I
that's
mean, again, another amazing job at saying right now. Say it's you two again. I know you're not one that looks at points all the time, but say with the 1-2 last week, the 1-3 tonight, both of you guys leading the most laps in your respective races and the wins. You and Maxwell have got now a 17-point gap over Dean Wilkinson in third, and with you jumping Maxwell by 1 point, obviously the second place versus the third place. So, like, do you start to at all look at kind of, okay, I need to focus on that 94 car a little bit more than maybe everybody else, or is it just I think I know the answer, but do you just say, okay, let's see what next week brings and get the best result I can that race and not even worry about where the other guys are?
Yeah, I mean, that's it in a nutshell. Don't worry about it. Just get to the last race and see where you're at in points, and then figure out who you need to look at. You know, whether it's the 94 or somebody else. Um, you know, because I think I might have said it last week. You don't want to get too far ahead of yourself because you just kind of lose concentration in the race that you should be concentrating on. Instead of looking forward to the final race of the season. So yeah, you're right. Just go to the next race and then see where that shakes out, and then take it from there.
Man, it's like I know how you've done this stuff before. I say you've got Doug who got to have his first interview. You've got you who, I mean, it's probably triple digit interviews by now with you. Say you, it's just again the stats. Obviously, I don't have them handy, but we know they're good. It's a lot of fun watching you do what you do best, and looking forward to seeing what the remaining couple races of the season, the playoffs, have for you in that 88 car. But Gabe, as always, definitely got to give you the floor. Any thanks and shout outs for that win tonight?
Well, obviously my teammates again. You know the story. You ain't nothing without your teammates, and of course you guys up in the booth. I think you had Brandon up there with you tonight, Gail. So you guys do a fantastic job. And Area 51, the admins in general, for putting on a great league. But I will give a special shout out to Doug this evening, man. This is his first year, and he's done fantastic. And the nice thing about Doug, apart from being a super nice, cool dude, is that he asks questions, and then or he might ask advice, but he listens and he puts it into practice. So, like, we've done a few qualified. Everett has been kind enough to put up a few practice sessions for us at different tracks, and we'll get in there and we'll try and tell them, here's what we do in qualifying, here's what we do in pits, and he listens and he works on it and he improves. And he had a real good Q night tonight. I think he got maybe P3 in qualifying, and then he ends up P2 in the race, which for he makes it easy on us. It's great when you have somebody that asks questions and actually listens and then goes back out and puts it into practice, and it's paid off for him. So I mean, props to Doug for that. It's great to see. I really enjoy that type of stuff.
No, and I'm 100% same boat with you there on that one, man. It's like obviously we always kind of talk. I say Matt's always the one that kind of would tout that, but it's like we love first time winners here at Area 51. But it's like even it's like he mentioned, I honestly was caught off by it as his first podium here too. And because, like you said, just I feel like as quick as he's caught on, all the things he's done, it's like, no, he's had one before. There's no way. So yeah, so like you said, it's showing how quickly he's been adapting and improving. And I told him, like, I honestly, I if not this season, next season, I think he's going to be definitely having way more opportunities to try to get those wins, and it'll be fun to see, obviously. Because I'd say it's always fun when you start to see these guys just get better and better over the course of the season, as they get familiar with one another as well.
Oh yeah, and like I said, I mean, at this point in my life, I think I love imparting knowledge anyway. From what I know, I mean, there's other guys out there that probably have more experience and they have different views and tips and so forth. But I love giving people advice when they ask for it, and to see them go out and practice it, and it, it's uh, it's just fun to me. I almost enjoy that more than I do winning a race, to be honest.
No, I 100% know what you mean there. There's been, let's say, it's few and far between, I feel like, but yeah, I've definitely had some of the I feel the best when I maybe can help push somebody to a win versus getting a win myself, kind of a situation. So I totally get where you're coming from on those. So yeah, it's again, it's really cool to see what you guys do. And that's something I always try to kind of tout off to the drivers that maybe either haven't raced or want to race, or yeah, maybe just rolling solo. Like, hey, reach out to a team, reach out to somebody, like, hey, maybe if you're trying to just learn or find someone to hang out with and work with. So you guys have definitely been one of the top-notch guys on doing that one. So definitely applaud you for that as well, Gabe. But man, I don't want to keep you all night. As I know you've got plenty of stuff on your plate, so I'm going to go let you enjoy this one, sir. So congrats on that win. Look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks' time for our last off week this season before we get to those final 2 Talladega races. And yeah, go enjoy this one, Gabe.
Fellas, I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, Brandon, that is our race winner in that number 88. And yeah, so I mean, kind of got a little bit of mixed opinions there for Maxwell. The pit stuff didn't seem to really phase him too much. Like, yeah, since I say just kind of my usual. For the other guys, like I said, kind of maybe what they're kind of, again, you kind of build that, I don't know what you want to call it, but you have that muscle memory, I think is what I'm thinking of. And so when something changes, you have to adjust, you have to relearn. And I think that's what caught a lot of guys here tonight.
Yeah, well, and this is no knock to any of the drivers because I didn't even know about it. I thought what that cone was, that I learned something tonight. So this just, I think, gives a thing to the commitment, and to be good at this thing, you got to put in the time. And just like Gabe said, these guys have put in the time, and it comes down to tree. It's kind of, I feel like Bootnaka is kind of like junior motorsports, right? They got a couple guys that's there every week, but we seen it with Justin Davis last season. He went over there, rookie. He comes in this season, makes the playoffs. Now he's 4th in points, running for a championship and now he's off on his own with his cousin. And it just shows, man, these guys over here, that they know how to get it done. And just like he said, if you listen, you can get better. So, that's going to be tough to beat. And Maxwell is definitely going to have his hands full with some of these other guys that fell a little bit further behind. So it's looking like it's going to come down to these two.
Yep, I'll say we do have an off week next week. Again, the final off week of the season before we get to those final 2 Talladega races to claim our champion. We will be back on Tuesday night for the IndyCar series, though, as well. And then, yeah, I'll say we'll see what the off season brings. Like I said, I think there's going to definitely be, worst case, some hosted races. But I say, yeah, for Maxwell, he's got to put some help wanted signs out around the Area 51 Discord, see if he can find some friends, teammates to work with for those final 2 races. Because, yeah, I mean, he did an amazing job tonight. But obviously, you'll feel a lot better if you have somebody that you know is going to have your back. I mean, we saw Bud try to work with him and just wasn't quite able to clear him towards the end of that final run before the caution came out. So there's opportunities there. He's just got to find them. And yeah, like I said, sometimes it doesn't just reach out, be like, hey, I'm up against a bunch of dudes. If there's a position where you can help me, can you maybe do me a solid and I can return the favor later on next season or whatever it may be. Those little things go a long way, I feel like.
Yeah, and if I'm him, I reach out. I reach out to the 10. I don't know what his commitment is, if there is any, to Bootnaka. Like I said, I think they run by themselves, but I reach out to him. He's 20 points behind. He's going to be a very aggressive driver over these next 2 weeks, and that's what the 94 is going to have to be also. So that's maybe a team I reach out to. 3's better than 1. So if you're going to have a shot, those guys are looking for that same real estate.
Yeah, no, exactly right. So we'll find out what that's going to look like in 2 weeks' time. We will be back on Tuesday night for the IndyCar series, and then off week Friday and Sunday, and then back to it on Friday and Sunday for the final 2 races after that, Talladega, both races. So Brandon, you talked about they're going to be able to be even more aggressive. There's more room to work with, so they're going to go full fight there at the end. It's going to be a lot of fun, so definitely tune in for those final 2 championship races. Man, always love doing these with you. Appreciate your time as always. So for myself and Brandon Briggs, hope you all have a wonderful evening. As always, until next time, take care, stay safe, have a good night.